Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning for our first of several scheduled webinars introducing the new Fax Appliance A100 Fax Server from OpenText. My name is Dennis Buller from AMS Limited. Also from AMS is Dan Richards, who will be talking you through a short presentation and demonstration. And joining us from the US is Jim Weezer, Senior Product Manager at OpenText. We're aware that time's precious, so we'll aim to keep the presentation as short and as informative as possible. Just to make you aware, the lines will be muted during the session, so please use the question facility for any questions you have, and we'll endeavour to answer them during the QA session at the end. I'll now hand you over to Dan.
Thanks, Dennis, and thanks again to everyone for taking the time to view our webinar today. We're very excited to be launching the new A100 Fax Appliance. And the objectives from today's session are firstly to recognise why fax is important, then identify the challenges that fax presents and explain how we resolve those challenges. I'll also be giving an overview of the entire OpenText fax server range to highlight where the new product fits in. I'll be introducing the A100 product, and then finally we can take a look at the software with a quick demonstration. Okay, so firstly a little bit about AMS and OpenText. At AMS we have over 20 years experience in supplying and supporting fax server solutions, and we have over 2,000 customers in the UK, Europe and Middle East. We're also a platinum partner for OpenText, supporting their full range of fax server products. The other key point is that OpenText are by a significant margin the worldwide leader in fax server and fax over IP solutions, with over 100,000 servers sold worldwide. So why is fax important? Well, the fact is that fax remains the trusted delivery mechanism for time-critical, crucial business documents. There are a number of reasons for this. Firstly, fax is the standard for secure document transfer. It's legally acceptable, binding, and is widely used for transmitting sensitive information. And the reason is that fax is proven and reliable. It uses tamper-resistant image files, and it's universally accepted, with a huge install base covering the entire globe. And the proof of delivery it provides makes it legally binding. The other key point is that there is no viable internet delivery alternative. For many document types, fax is relied on for its guaranteed delivery. For example, invoices, order receipts, acknowledgement, financial documents, and medical records. And as you see here, many industries require and rely on fax. For example, the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing companies deal with large numbers of transactional documents that need guaranteed delivery and proof of delivery. Healthcare, for sending and receiving highly confidential patient details. Financial services and legal organizations need document transition to be legally binding and secure. And as you see here, there's other industries that rely on fax, including government, utilities, and many others. That said, there are many challenges we face with fax, and this is because many organizations still rely on manual fax machines, as well as postal or courier services, to deliver vital business documents. And there are a number of challenges related to this. The first is high document distribution costs and inefficient business processes, which are inevitable with the use of such manual processes. Compliance and security is another major issue, as organizations are under increasing pressure to use tamper-resistant document delivery systems, and they need secure delivery, notification, history, and audit trail. Also, the lack of integration with other applications such as email, desktop, as well as systems like CRM, ERP, health information systems, and of course multifunction devices is another major limitation with these manual systems. So with our fax solutions, we help customers with a number of issues, and here's some examples. So customers who want to reduce their monthly telephony costs. For those who still use manual fax machines, services can be consolidated by replacing these with a central integrated solution. Do you lose track of faxes? we ensure that faxes are always available and secure. We can also fax-enable multifunction devices without the need for expensive fax kits and fax lines for each device. Also, customers who want to add fax to their unified messaging system or voice over IP infrastructure. And we help customers who manually process paper-based transactions. We do this by automating their delivery through a fax server integration. Okay, next I'm going to give you an overview of the entire OpenText fax server range, because all of these products are available from AMS. So, first of all, as you see at the top here, WriteFax. WriteFax is OpenText's comprehensive software-based fax server, and it's the world's leading fax over IP solution. The target audience for WriteFax is customers who have or are planning to move to a voice over IP infrastructure. It's also for customers looking to virtualize, or those with advanced integration needs, including, for example, SAP, Oracle, and many others. The other two options, FaxPress and the A100 Fax Appliance, come with all the necessary hardware and software that allow users to easily send and receive faxes from their desktop, email, and multifunction devices. Both of these appliance-based solutions are robust, easy to implement and manage. The FaxPress option, like WriteFax, has a wide range of integration options with multifunction devices, email servers, and back-office systems. Also, like WriteFax, FaxPress is highly scalable with support from 2 up to 60 or more channels. The target audience for FaxPress is those looking for a robust hardware-based appliance with connection to analog or digital lines that's easy to implement, yet with all the integration needed. Finally, the new Fax Appliance A100 product, which is the subject of this presentation, this is the latest solution from OpenText. Software is based on Silverlight technology and designed to be very easy to implement and use. It incorporates all the features and capabilities needed in a simple and affordable turnkey fax solution. The target audience for the A100 is mainly small to medium customers, possibly with streamlined fax needs. And there are two models available, the A102 and A104, with support for 2 or 4 fax channels. The system allows network users to easily send and receive faxes from the desktop, multifunction devices, and email. Next, we have a few key details about the new product. So as you've heard already, it's an analog fax appliance which offers complete network faxing in a single robust appliance. It can be rack-mounted or sit on a desktop, supports unlimited users and multifunction devices at no extra cost. Also languages. So one of the design goals for the new appliance from the beginning was extensive international language support. And the software is already available in 16 languages with the option to easily add more in the near future. Key features from a user perspective include a print-to-fax capability and also the sending and receiving of faxes from their email systems. And this includes support for cloud-based email systems such as Gmail and others. Also, automatic DDI fax routing is supported. And finally, the main design goal with the A100 has always been to make it simple to use, install, and administer. We've highlighted the fact that the A102 and A104 fax appliance provides a simple way to centrally manage fax traffic in an easy-to-deploy solution. And this slide gives an overview of, first of all, the appliance sits centrally on the network, connected to the phone lines, and providing a secure central fax store. And this shows the different interfaces available for users. So users can fax and manage their faxes from their desktop with the web client and the print-to-fax option. email system can also be used, providing unified messaging and a familiar interface for users. Where hard copy faxing is required, this is achieved with integration with multifunction devices, which allows users to walk up, enter a fax number, and send the fax. Network folder integration is also available, allowing incoming faxes to be dropped automatically into folders and outgoing faxes to be picked up and automatically faxed out with the drop directory system. Okay, the main benefits delivered include, first of all, reduction by cutting the cost of fax machines and paper delivery, and also by consolidating resources and extending the IT infrastructure. Integration with multifunction devices and email systems, and providing security for important fax documents and supporting compliance requirements with extensive tracking, auditing, and reporting. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the demonstration so you can take a look at the software. I'm going to show you this from the user perspective, so the different user interfaces available. So first of all, the web client, and then I'm going to show you the printer fax option, and finally the the email integration. So starting off with the web client. Okay, so this is the login screen, and users can log in with a username and password as you'd expect. There's the option to have yourself emailed a password reset option if you forget your password. And you can see here the language options available. The system will automatically default to your local language based on your operating system settings. So I'll quickly log in. From the web client, we can send a fax. So we can, here we would enter recipients for the fax. You can enter multiple recipients if you wish. They can be added from a contacts list. Just going back into that, I'll just quickly show you that you can also search within the contacts list. So for example, if I search on test, this searches on all fields within the contacts, so company or name. We can also manually enter recipients, of course. So we now have 2 recipients. And next, you can add files. So actually, this will actually be the contents of the fax. So I'll add, for example, a PDF file. We support most of the common file formats that you would expect. So PDF, Doc, DocX, XLS, XLSX, PPT, and a wide range of image files. If you try to select a file format that's not supported, you'll get a warning. It won't allow you to send that document. Okay, we could at this point click Send for a quick fax, or you can continue to select further options. So I'll click Next. We can select a cover sheet, and you get a preview of the cover sheet and the option to add notes to the cover sheet. And again, you could send or continue to add some more advanced options, which include the option to change the recipient information for the cover sheet, and the option to delay the fax to send at a specific time of your choosing. And send. The user then has 4 folders available to them. So one of these is the outbox. We can see that our fax is now queued up to both recipients that we selected. We also have the inbox, which is the user's list of personal received faxes. For each fax, you can select various options. So you can obviously view the fax, save to file as a TIFF or PDF file. You can print or forward or route to another user. So I'll open the fax up, and obviously it has a built-in viewer. You can view all the pages of the fax, a rotate option. You can also view the properties of the fax with details of when the fax was received, etc. And also a full audit trail. So each fax has an audit trail showing every action that's happened with that fax document, which is important for the compliance and security requirements that we mentioned previously in the presentation. We also have a folder for the user's sent faxes. And we can see the 2 faxes that I've just sent, or the 1 fax I sent to 2 recipients. And again, you get the same kind of options to view, save, print, or you also have the option to resend to a different fax number. And the trash, so if you delete a fax, it doesn't immediately get deleted from the system, but move to the trash folder. And from here, you have the option to view the fax or undelete. You can also manage your fax contacts, and you can add a new contact. And again, you can search through here. And you also have the option to import contacts from a CSV file. So that will allow you to import from pretty much any database system in which you have your fax phone books or recipients stored. The user can also configure some basic preferences for their fax settings. That said, the administrator can determine which options are available to the users to select. So, for example, users can set their information like password, the email address for notifications, language, time zone, and also defaults personal information for their cover sheet. And you also from here have the option to download the print to fax client and install it. The user can also select notification settings. So, for example, you could configure whether you want your notifications to be sent to a printer or email, and determine exactly which notifications you want to receive for incoming and outgoing faxes. And for received faxes, you can select where they're delivered, to a printer, to email, or into a network folder. And if you use the network folder option, the faxes are dropped as an image file, and optionally also an XML file can be dropped in as well with the details of the fax. And again, as I mentioned before, the administrator can control which of these notification and receive fax options are actually available to the users. Okay, so that's the web client, and as you can see, very simple and easy for the user to use. Next, I'll show you the print to fax capability. So you can fax from any document from which you can print. So for example, from a Word document, simply print to the fax printer. That then launches a send fax dialog, which is essentially exactly the same as the one we saw before. So I can enter a recipient. And add to the list. Now I could at this point continue and select cover sheets, additional files to add to the fax, etc. Or I can just click send, as I will in this case, just for a quick fax. And then you get a pop-up to notify you that your fax has been successfully submitted. So you can see how simple that is to use. And then finally, the other option is integration with email. So the new appliance can be integrated with pretty much any email system using SMTP. For this example, I'm going to use Outlook. However, the integration would be exactly the same regardless of which email system you're using. So to send a fax from Outlook is as simple as creating an email, and identical other than the only difference is that you address it to a fax recipient rather than an email recipient. So the addressing format would be fax number at, in this case, otfa.fax. We can enter a subject, and you can type text in the body of the email, which would appear in the fax. And you can also attach documents, which will be converted to fax format and included in the fax. So again, we support all the same file types that we saw, that I explained previously, PDF, doc, image files, etc. So again, I'll attach a PDF file and send. And that's it. That fax is now queued up, and I will receive, providing I've got notifications configured, I will receive notification as to whether that fax succeeds or indeed fails. For example, you would receive a notification like this. If your fax succeeds, clearly telling you your fax has succeeded with the details of the recipient, the date and time, and a shrunk copy of the first page of the fax. You get a similar notification if your fax fails. And then receive faxes. So if you configure the system to deliver incoming faxes to your inbox, you would receive a message similar to this, that you've received a fax, and what you have is a link to the fax document. The advantage with this is security. So rather than having the actual fax emailed to you, which could then easily be distributed and not necessarily so secure, with this system you have to log on to retrieve your fax. Also, the other benefit with that is that it doesn't put so much strain on your mail server system, because the actual fax images don't need to be emailed to you. Okay, so we can view the fax. The other alternative option is that you can just have a notification sent to you saying that you've received a fax, and then obviously you would then need to go and retrieve it from your client or from a drop folder. Okay, so that completes the demonstration. So next I'm just going to give a quick summary of what we've talked about. Okay, so we've established that fax is important and remains the standard for secure document transfer. Also, with our fax server solutions, we can reduce the costs and problems associated with standalone fax machines and secure postal services. I've explained the benefits of integrating fax with email, multifunction devices, and back-office systems. AMS supply the entire range of OpenText fax server products, including WriteFax, Fax over IP, and all of the appliance products. And I've shown you that the new A100 Fax Appliance is easy to install, manage, and you've seen how easy it is to use. Okay, now I'm going to hand you back over to Dennis to answer some of your questions.
Okay, thanks, Dan. I'm going to pose some of these questions to Jim, who's in the US. Jim, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Great stuff. Okay, got a question from John Wright. Are there any limitations to age level of Outlook you're using? Are other clients like Lotus Notes supported?
Yeah, so any mail client that supports SMTP is supported for on-premises servers, and for then for cloud-based servers, it's any cloud-based service that supports connectivity through technology called SSL TLS, and I don't know of a cloud-based email service that doesn't support that.
Okay, great. One from Dinu. Do I have an incoming fax number to set up an account, or do I need to have an incoming fax number to set up an account?
So no, you don't. There's several different ways you can set up the telephony side of things. So if you plug your telephone lines into the device, as you can see in the picture there, this product is actually a 4-line version, and in the 4 black ports there, you'd plug your telephone lines. If you wanted to have the device set up just to do outbound faxing, you can do that. You could assign each of those individual phone lines with associated phone number from your telco or PBX. Those could be routed to an individual, to a printer, to an email address. Or you could configure things in such a way that each user, or once again, a drop folder or MFP could have their own virtual fax number.
Okay, okay, great. Scott Biggs asks, is there a difference between forwarding and routing a fax?
Great question. So when we talk to users, there's two different types of way they would like to hand faxes to others in the system to process, right? So when you forward a fax, it's like you're taking the paper copy of the fax, right? You're making a copy of it and giving it to somebody else. So the original stays with the account that received it, but then another individual would receive a copy of that fax, right? When you route a fax, it's like you're taking a paper copy and you're handing it to somebody else. So it is moved from the inbox of the receiving user and then sent to another user, and they see it then as a brand new fax. It's very helpful, say you have a receptionist who's monitoring, say, the shared fax number, maybe your public fax number for your entire organization, right? And the receptionist then can send the fax to the individual that would be most appropriate.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, we have another question from Fabian Perez. The device has 4 ports. We currently have 20 fax lines. How do I connect them? Do I need 5 devices?
So you have 2 options here, right? So if you have 20 fax lines, it's perhaps you can actually change your telephony setup and keep the same 20 fax numbers, but only use 4 physical lines. I won't go into details here how you do that, but depending on volume, that's one thing you can do. If all of those 20 lines are constantly in use, this product may not be the right product for you, and then we have products either in the right fax or in the fax press product lines with higher fax capabilities or capacity. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. We have another question from Mark Landon. We have 5 branches linked via WAN. Would one fax number or server cope with all of them?
Everything's dependent on volume, right? So there's several different ways you could architect a system, right? So if you have fairly light volumes, what you could do is just have one system, place it centrally. But if your volumes are a little bit heavier, what you could do is put a system in each branch. You also have a little more redundancy that way. That's probably worth a follow-up call to see your volume levels, and then AMS can help you. It can help recommend an architecture that meets your needs.
Okay. Okay. Hani asks, is there any high availability options with the A100, like clustering 2 boxes, etc.?
Right. So for the A100, we didn't design that high availability. We designed it as a fairly simple product to install and configure. However, in its sister product line, the Fax Press product line, that is available, and Write Fax, that's also available. So if you're interested in an appliance footprint or a software footprint, there's other products for that. With that said, we do make it easy to back up and to restore the Fax Appliance A100 family. So you could configure one device, save its settings, and then basically clone the device. So if you have fairly straightforward needs, you don't have a lot of integration needs to any other systems, and you're interested in a simple solution. We don't have high availability. We do have a fairly simple way for making redundancy.
Okay. Okay. Ben Elmore asks, is there integration with Lotus Notes?
So Lotus Notes integration could be done 2 ways. For the messaging side of things, Notes is SMTP compliant, so any of the options that you saw around email, whether it be email delivery of inbound faxes or the ability to send faxes from an email client would be supported. Another thing you can do is you can receive faxes into a network directory, and then you can bring those files in. There's just a network file at that point. You can bring those into notes just like any other file as well.
Okay, Mark Landon asks, we trialed a fax to email solution, and a minor headache was explaining to the users that they had to change their fax email to plain text before sending. Would that be the same with our solution?
No, no. So we support rich text, HTML text, as well as plain text.
Okay. Let's have a look here. While I still need 2 ISDN converters, I currently have connected with my FaxPress 5000. We have 100 incoming numbers with 2 ISDN lines. Not really sure what that actually, I don't think he's finished off.
Okay.
That's from Robert. Okay, a couple of others. What browsers are supported by the web client? That's Brett from Peregrine Limited.
Okay, so we have, it's any browser that supports Microsoft Silverlight technology. Silverlight's Microsoft's kind of display utility is the easiest way to describe that. And so we've tested against all those browsers. So Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, there's 2 or 3 more, and I'm sorry, it's 5:30 in the morning here in Canada, so the list isn't coming to my head right now. But for a complete list, you can either check the Microsoft Silverlight site at silverlight.net, or you can just provide an email, and I can send that list to you when my brain's at a little higher function level.
Okay. Yep, no problem, Jim. Okay, one from David from LNX. Is Exchange 2010 supported?
It is. So we have an update coming out in about 10 days on October 31st, and we had Exchange 2010 support at that point.
Okay. Hanny asks, is the A100 supporting any digital lines like E1?
So as we stand today, it is not. It's an analog product, and our intent is in the future to add different telephony configurations.
Okay. Sean asks, is there an API for custom integration?
There is an API. So for custom integrations, you have a couple of options. If you have development skills, we offer a free API that's downloaded right from our support database. And then if you want to say just send faxes, what most people do is rather than doing a full API integration, which would allow you using full API integration, anything you had seen during the demo, we built our product with the API, so you have the entire set of functionality. If you want to say just send faxes, what a lot of people will do is just use our drop directory functionality. So you place the file that you want to send along with the little XML control file with some information, and then we monitor that directory and then pick up the files and send them just as a user was sending them from a client. And then also, if you route incoming faxes to a network directory, and your administrator sets up the option to give you the metadata that came with those, you can then bring those into another system. So, for instance, we have a fair number of people that will take incoming faxes and they will route them off to some kind of a content management system, and then they just parse through our little metadata file and then add all the information into the content management system or a workflow system or whatever you need.
Okay, great. Kelly asks, what's the billing code for?
So billing codes are for organizations that need to charge back for usage, either internally, the percentage of use, or a cost per fax could be applied and billed to the correct budget center from there. But there are particular industries, and it may be a little more North American focused, but the industry that I see use the billing codes the most are the legal industries, where there's a chargeback directly to clients for any kind of document production costs. But it is an optional feature that you don't need to fill out the billing codes, but it's there if you have needs.
Okay, thanks. In answer to Robert's question, whether he'll still need his two ISDN converters connected, yes, you will, Robert. I hope that answers your question. Another quick question here from Simon. Can the data and configuration be backed up?
Yes, so you have your choice of how you want to back items up. So you can back up just the configuration data, which would include an individual's contacts, and you can choose to do just the data in the system, or you can do both. In fact, for survivability, we can set up the backup to occur nightly, right? And so let's say you had a hardware failure. What we could do is, as part of a support offering, is to replace your product overnight, and then when the new product would come in, then you just load back in that configuration data, and within just a few minutes you'd be up and running again. Is there another question?
Jim, okay, we have Lee Kerr. Do our products work with MFDs, and do the MFDs require a fax board?
So absolutely. So one of the key design goals when we made this product was to help customers avoid the cost of adding fax cards inside MFPs when they make their purchases, and also to reduce the telephony costs as compared to putting fax kits into individual MFPs. So the way we integrate with the MFPs is through the scan to email functionality of the device. So any device that is able to scan a document in, allow you to address an email, and then send email from the device, will work with that device. So for instance, in my home office, I'm able to use a very inexpensive, sub-$100 US little inkjet multifunction device I have, and then that's able to send to our hosted email service, and then the fax appliance can actually get those messages and send those email messages I've scanned in as a fax. This is just an example.
Okay, great. Got one from Tim Baker. How is an incoming fax identified and forwarded to the intended recipient's email? Does it have OCR functionality?
So it does not have OCR functionality. So what we do is we route on the phone number or on a line, right? So you can see in that picture, this product has 4 lines, particular version of the A104. So you could say line 1 always goes to this user, right? Line 2 goes to that user. Or if you have virtual fax numbers set up, we would say virtual fax number 1 goes to user 1, virtual fax number 2 goes to user 2, etc. And then once you've assigned that routing, the individual users can say, here's how I want to receive my faxes. I was just talking with a customer, and I'm on a trip to Canada this week. I was just talking to a customer yesterday who was talking about they'd like to eliminate their 15 or 16 fax machines, and they're going to do this over over several months. So what they will do right now is they will keep their existing fax numbers, not assign virtual fax numbers to employees, and whenever a fax comes in, they'll print it on the nearest print device. And then through the next few months, they'll train individuals, and then they'll start receiving those faxes as PDF files in their inbox. And so users are allowed to select how they want to receive those faxes, and that way you can do a nice rollout at the speed that your employees want, rather than just coming in one day and all the fax machines are gone.
Okay, great. Stephen the guy asks, what's the storage capability in terms of size?
Okay, so the current products have 160 gig hard drives in them. So one of the smart engineers did the math of the average the average size of a fax, and it came out to a 4-line unit could be constantly sending and receiving, and it would take somewhere in the area of 8 years to fill up that hard drive. Now, we've also have an automatic archive capability, so that if you're concerned about the hard drive filling up, you can set a timer that when faxes are over a certain age, it could be a day, it could be a year, whatever you choose, we would remove them from the hard drive of the device and put them out on network location. So you really don't have to worry about the hard drive filling up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jim. Hanny, you've posed a question, how can you get more information on WriteFax? One of our team will be coming back to any questions we don't get to today, so someone will come back to you personally with that. Backup configs. Rizwan asks, backup configs. What about backup faxes?
Yeah, so that's an option as well. Yeah, so you have your choice. So we didn't automatically enforce a nightly backup of the data for 2 reasons. One, it can be the data can be very large and take a while to transfer off the device. But what it really came down to is that a lot of times customers will want to configure a system that, as I mentioned, the archiving before, that they want to only keep a certain age of faxes on the device, and all the rest are considered archives. And so basically between the automatic backup utility and automatic archiving, you can choose how you want to handle your documents. Backing up the system would leave them on the fax appliance, and then archiving would remove them off to a network store, which they can be backed up then just like any other electronic file on your network.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Tim Baker asks, how many virtual fax machines are available to set up per line for forwarding purposes?
So unlimited. It's any number that you really wish.
Okay. Okay, great. I think that about wraps it up. I'm going to hand you back to Dan now, and he'll finalize.
Yeah, thanks for your time. We'll follow up with any further details. And also, of course, if you have any further questions, please let us know and we'll get straight back to you. So thanks again.